Welcome to this next Crypto Simps podcast, episode number 19. We almost have half a year on our side now. I'm joined here, as always, by my simp brethren, Mr. Jason Bazzino. You can find his links, assuming that I remember to put them in there, in the description below, and they'll do a better job of doing that. The market right now is rather interesting. Everything's pumping up, and well, it's good to be joined here by you, sir. Do you have any thoughts on the current pumpola? What are you looking for? What are you looking at? I hear you talking about this Anchor protocol.
Yeah, look,
because this man.
If you forget to put the links in the description, I'll just shill myself in your comments section. I now have 2 monitors, so I'm going to be checking some prices on this side. But yeah, look, anything we talk about today is obviously financial advice. We are buying first. And we're telling you guys later on a pre-recorded video so that you buy
right.
It later.
It's exit liquidity. Yes. That's right. Yes. Bitcoin doesn't have enough for me. I have hundreds of billions of dollars. I just can't get out. So I need to use the community here in order to sell into. That fucking pisses me off when people talk about that. And also, just in case if there is any like SEC sort of entity listening right now, no, this is not financial advice. Jason's just making a bad attempt at humor. It's all good though, man. It's all good.
It's exactly. Everyone's a simp here. They can't go and play and talk to the
That's exactly what a simp would do, though. It's like, hey, it's not my fault. It's your fault. I didn't do anything. I just did what I was told. Yeah, you know, I mean, this is kind of like a off the topic kind of topic. That whole thing with like exit liquidity, I see that a lot on crypto Twitter and crypto YouTube nowadays, where, you know, some big account will say, I like this, thing. And people will be like, they're just using us for exit liquidity. Like, what are you talking about? Maybe, in very small micro caps, that actually would make sense, I guess, because if something's like a few million market cap, I guess so. Maybe if you're
just look at it in terms of how much does the coin move on an hourly basis if there has been a mention of it. You can just scale back, look at the hours. Oh, it was put up on a video at this hour. It moved 50% or something. You're going to be exit liquidity. So don't be a fool. That's pretty much it. You can do that really simple research before buying a shit coin that you heard on a video. Yeah,
and that's actually really, 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 really good advice. Because that can be an issue with like the extremely low market cap ones. But when you're talking about like a Bitcoin and Ethereum, something in like the top 10, maybe even the top 50, I'm not super sure of that, but I would assume like at least the top 5 or 10. The markets they're so big now that unless you're really rolling in hundreds of millions or specifically billions, I don't think it matters. I don't think you have to worry about that too much. It was an issue like I'd say 5-6 years ago, more or less, where someone would come in and they would put like a million up on the bid or offer, and the markets would like really react to that because it couldn't absorb it all that well. But that's just not the case anymore today. You see $1 million orders go through. Not just multiple times a day, but quite frequently, especially on a volatile day, you'll see it hundreds of times if you're watching the tape. So it's nothing out of the ordinary nowadays. I would even imagine like up to 10 million is probably no issue at all. Maybe like 50 to 100 million. That's where it becomes a bit of a like, okay, we need to be a little more careful with this. But in that case, it's
we can see on Coin Market Cap, like all of that information is available to us noobs, us simps, where we can see what the volume is. If you're only going to put $10 in, it's not going to be a problem.
If you don't,
thousands, it's probably not going to be a problem for those top 100. $1 billion market caps. It's pretty simple stuff, but people. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally, man. Well, it's kind of like a narcissistic quality, I guess, where people are like, they're just using us for they're just using me for exit liquidity again. I won't let them have my $5. No way, not today.
I'm not watching this guy. Unsubscribed.
It's like, okay, well, fair enough. Fair enough.
What else is moving on your end? I like a bit of Anchor.
Oh yeah, you like the anchors.
Cardano.
Yeah, that one actually had a pretty good move off the lows. Very good move off the lows.
$1.20 now. We got a lower high forming, but I think it still has a little bit of strength.
I think she's got a bit more to go. I think she's good. Yeah.
Going for 126.
This is the first like major bounce in a very long time. I don't think the first week is going to be it. Maybe trades a little bit of sideways is fine, but we have to adjust our expectations. I don't think that anything's going to be doing like the rocket ship emoji right now, but nice and steady, a stair stepping up is exactly what you want. That's what you want to see in a nice somewhat healthy-ish market. Yeah.
Like
yeah,
Cardano's crushed in September. So I love. Don't you love saying that Cardano's crushed next month?
Does it ever get old? Being mean to the Cardano crew, man.
I forgot about that. I did a video on Cardano a few days ago. Yeah,
dude, I saw your video from this morning, and you had the logo in there.
Yeah, I talked about the price update again.
Right on.
Cardano is moving, and we need to talk about it. Otherwise, it's like, why aren't you talking about this coin? So, that's
you're holding it down. You're holding it down, man.
You talk about it, then you get in trouble for talking about it. Oh, people. But it's been so nice over the last few weeks on YouTube with comments are just nice. You guys are watching. It's like a nice community again. I did a video on ADA, Cardano. I did just the normal way I talk.
Right.
I completely forgot that there's a whole crew of loosely screwed basement dwellers that just, no, you're wrong. You're a fudder.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I forgot about these guys.
Oh, the fudders. Yes, the fudders. Yeah, man, I always loved that topic of FUD. It's like anything that I don't like, it's FUD. It's like US government seeks to ban XYZ shitcoin for scam. That sounds like a bunch of FUD. It's like, no, sir, I think that's a legitimate concern, actually. And maybe you might be drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit too much.
They're just fighting Safe Moon.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of BitConnect FUD. They just want to accumulate your BitConnect coins low. And then they're going to use you for exit liquidity on the other side as well.
I want to hear your altcoins. I know you probably don't have too many because you're a Bitcoin maxi, but I've been watching a bit of Axie take off. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I really don't look at altcoins unless if I'm on a live stream. But for me, the ones that I like, look, you're asking the wrong person because I just came to the subtle realization that, hey, maybe there are things outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum that might actually be okay. They might actually be okay.
Let's educate you today.
So, I do hold obviously Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then I hold some of the, what are they, layer ones or layer, I don't even know what the fuck they are, layer twos, the AVAX, Solanas, Lunas, those kind of things, just because, one of them's probably going to win. I don't know which
all-time high.
Yeah, Luna. I like if it has a good chart and if it's been around for a decent amount of time, that's where I start to say, hey, I don't think that this is a scam. This might actually be legitimate. It's probably worth just throwing in there. And
sorry, I'm looking to the side. I've got the Luna chart.
Go for it. I'm doing the same thing actually.
Yeah, we've got some nice support happening on top of all-time highs. On Luna BTC, I always like the altcoins to be strong against their Bitcoin value. Luna has also been heading down, but it's finding some support on all-time highs. So I'm looking at the all-time high of January 2022. So this is Luna against E.
Right on. Yeah.
And then Luna dollar hit a new all-time high just in the last couple of hours at $106.
Powerful.
Yeah, we're going to see what happens at the end of the close. This video is probably going to go up in several more hours from now, so we'll see what happens. Solana is always a funny one with people now that I posted about selling all of my Solana.
They really don't like you on that one, but you called that one perfectly, man. That was like about as good as you can get it. And so that, that's actually really a good just sort of case study in the sense that like people don't really care actually if you're right or wrong. They kind of just, in general, obviously not everyone, but the person who spends their time, commenting mean things on YouTube, they just want to hear their opinion espoused by you, not like what you actually think is going to happen. So fair enough. I always kind of go back to that because it's so interesting, man. So fucking interesting.
The psychology with tribalism is odd. Like this, somewhere they forgot that it's not tribalism. This is like investing and it's making money, so that doesn't care. But everyone to themselves. If they, at the end of the day, there's got to be some people that are going to lose, and they're typically the ones that will lose. So you find yourself getting caught up in tribalism.
Dude, that's why I think we need to bring back religion, man. We need religion because if we don't have religion, then people get religious about their fucking shit coins, and they start to think that that's like their identity.
They need to go towards something spiritual.
Well, I mean, look, man, the Cardano community, they're not going to add anything to your life. Like, they're just going to make you put Cardano in your name, and then you become like a Cardano warrior. What do they call themselves? I don't know. Cardano crew, whatever the fuck. Like, if you go subscribe to a major religion, maybe, you know, if you go subscribe to a major religion, like, you know, usually they're like, hey, be nice to other people and, you know, try to do good things. And I don't know, this probably seems like a better thing to me. But, you know, if we're thinking in terms of relative value, I would value that over Cardano crew, or XRP army is there one, I believe. You know, it is actually, I really do think that that's a function of like religion no longer being popular, because we are humans, and we are always going to be religious about something, whether it be diet, whether it be actual religion, whether it be whatever. It's just your philosophy, like what you believe, essentially. And, you know, when people kind of have that lack of meaning, that lack of like obvious meaning to them, then they start to get religious about really crazy things that don't really add anything to your life and kind of give you a warped view of reality. You know, I mean, you've seen it obviously in the nutrition sector, you know, with veganism and vegetarianism. Yeah.
Definitely.
No, fuck them. Let's tear them apart right now. No, of course not, man. Look, to each their own, obviously. Of course, to each their own. You know, the difference is, it's like, look, you know, you do whatever works for you, obviously. But when you start to, you know, espouse it onto other people, it's just as gross as when people try to, you know, convert others to a different religion. You know, it's the same sort of a thing.
I definitely went down that path. I was trying to convert everyone to veganism. I thought it was the way.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think about, should the world turn to shit? You know, we'll go down a doomsday path. Not that I'm a doomsdayer, but do you think there would be meat credits? Like in a system, maybe we have cryptocurrency, we have some blockchain, and then we're given social tokens, and you can only buy so much meat per week because food prices have gone insane.
Or even better, if you leave like a mean tweet, then they'll say like, hey, you can't buy any meat today. I'm sorry, your card is declined until you delete that tweet. Then you can buy your meat again. You know, it seems like things are trending in that direction. Obviously, there's a big push, it seems like, across the world where it's like meat equals.
Like where you are? Like you guys are always known as the higher the socialist countries out there.
Right. You know, whenever you actually look at the statistics, it's actually quite a relatively small subset of the population that is very much for that, but they are vocal, and the people who, you know, really do care, they actually can make a change. And so, yeah, things are trending in that direction. Meat prices went up like 20 to 25% overnight since the start of the war. And it's definitely, you know, one of those things where it's generally perceived as bad. You know, even here, like, it's really not. It's not bad at all, in fact, because they have like so many rules and regulations around, you know, treating the animals respectfully and making sure that everything's done, you know, in a regenerative manner. But that's not the same in like America, for example. But it is here, and even then, still, like, people like meat bad.
They're building it out in America now, which is nice to see that things are, you know, turning the other way from the whole animal holocaust.
And I agree with that, man. It's like, you know, those are sick animals. You're not gonna feel good by eating something that's sick. Like, think about it. If you see a rotten apple, are you gonna feel good eating that? It's like, no, dude, you're gonna get sick too. It's the same thing with a fucking animal. So it makes total sense to me. It's like
on the apple. Yeah. You know, you want something from a nice, clean environment.
Right. I mean, that's selfish altruism. Yet again, it's like, look, I want the best for those animals because that makes them better for me, and, you know, and vice versa. And it's like, that's a good.
Plants too.
Yeah,
I want the best for the water. I want the best for everything that's consumed.
And so things are trending that way. I think like at certain government events or whatever, they don't serve meat anymore, but who goes to those anyways? But yeah, you know, it's definitely trending that way.
To the kids.
Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ, give them, like, take away the most nutritious food possibly to them and feed them more gobbledygook, you know, shit. Yeah, man. So, you know, it's just a miseducation or diseducation. It's misinformation, basically, is where that kind of came from. Or at least in my opinion, because look, man, like, I've actually tried being a vegetarian before, not vegan, but vegetarian. And I feel better and operate better with meat, man. And I can't really imagine it a different way. So, you know, if things were to trend that direction in the world, I would hope that first there is a legitimate alternative. I would be all for lab grown meat if you could tell me that it's the exact fucking same. So no Impossible Burger bullshit. Yes, this science will tell you exactly, right?
Science will tell you it's exact same.
But what does science say?
It's not going to happen in a lab. But
hopefully it doesn't happen in our life. Yeah, I mean that would be.
You won't get the meat from a lab. I'm going to guarantee it for myself.
Yeah,
the sun is what gives life to everything. And if science thinks they can take away the sun and reproduce the sun, I mean, good luck to them. I'm not going to get into that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I remember you bringing up that point, like it must have been a month or two ago. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. And yeah, I mean, I mean, that's a really, really good point. It's like, how do you replicate that? Because obviously that plays a major role in these sort of developments of nutrients and whatnot, which is why we eat it to begin with. Like, you know, it tastes good because it has all these nutrients, no shit.
Our sleep patterns as well. Like, you know, I'm looking at these bloody lights now, so I'm always blinking half the time. It's like sun is the best for it. So, you know, we stare at screens all day with the crypto and fucking Twitter and all this bullshit. But yeah, just try and get some sun in the evenings.
Dude, 100%, man. You know, one thing that Elsa actually kind of educated me on recently in like a very mean way was like, I always liked having lights on at night because it's, you know, it's like, what do we want to live in a fucking cave right now? She says, no, we want to have the lights off because if we have the lights off, then we get sleepier. It's like, oh, that makes sense actually, because we're supposed to, we're meant to, we evolved for hundreds of thousands of years to get up with the sun and go to sleep when the sun goes down. And it's like, do you think that you're going to escape that sort of level of conditioning by just having a fucking light on or, you know, changing your clock or whatever it might be? It's like, no way, man. No fucking way.
I tend to turn off a lot of the lights, but I'll have a little bit on, but make sure that they're, you know, they're not white lights. I just want that. Fuck, what is it? Just warm. That's what I'm.
Warm. Yeah. Just like kind of turning it down. A lot, you know, and really for myself, I found a lot of value in taking the lights off and then also limiting exposure to electronics at night, and that really helps me actually get like a deep restful sleep. And you know that you're getting a deep restful sleep if one, you know, you're kind of sleeping through most of the night. You know, you can make up a time or two and take a piss or something like that. But also two, like you have dreams. And, you know, for like the longest time, you know, especially in my earlier 20s, I would just stay up like all fucking night and just think, oh, if I get, you know, 7-8 hours of sleep during the next day, that's fine. No, it matters when, man, it really does. At least I think for most people. I do understand that there's a very small subset of the population that can operate kind of nocturnally, but I would be curious to know if they would do better on like a normal schedule. You know, it seems like they kind of succeed in spite of rather than because of with that sort of a setup. So, you know, just getting more and more in alignment with what I think we're evolutionary supposed to be doing, because, you know, it's a very modern invention that we have access to this. I mean, let alone a fucking computer, for the love of God, like, you know, giving us instant gratification and instant or constant, you know, stimulation all the time, man. It's a lot to deal with. I mean, think about it. Like,
how's it going now in Finland? Because the sun, it's obviously, you're going into summer. So you must be getting really, really long days.
Dude, it's bright until like 8 or 9 now already.
What time does the sun rise?
Sun rises at around 6:30 or 7. No, not yet. But in June, it'll be all day. There will be no sun going down for the whole day. Like you walk out at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., it'll be bright and sunny as if it was, you know, 3 p.m., for example.
That bright? Really, does it sort of dim off a little bit?
No, it doesn't dim at all. It's exactly the same. It's very confusing when you go outside. Yeah, man. So I had never experienced anything like that before moving here, and it just destroys me when it starts to happen. But the people here, they love it, man, and they will be so happy to spend every waking hour outside when it is, you know, nice and warm and sunny outside. So it's you know, it's just I guess that's their whole conditioning, because they've been living in that for, you know, pretty much the whole or for a very long time.
For December?
Yeah, there's like a week maybe in December where it's pretty much only dark. There might be an hour or two of sunlight and then gone. So it kind of, I guess it kind of bounces out that way. I actually prefer dark, to be honest with you, because the light, man, it's just so difficult to sleep during that. And even if I miss like an hour, or especially more than an hour of sleep, the day is just not going to be as good. I won't be as productive. I won't be as on top of my stuff. And with the recent time change this past weekend, it's like immediately I notice it. And, it's like this week is probably gonna be a struggle. It might even take like a couple of weeks to really catch up. So it is what it is.
This shows we've talked about diet. We've talked about sunlight. We've talked about weather. This is turning into like old man's crypto Simps. What else do we
Grandpa Simps, baby.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah, man. There's a few other current events that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, what everyone's talking about, the gossip of the time is the Will Smith and Chris Rock debacle. I'm sure you've seen it, man. You're on Twitter.
Acting. I saw it for a second.
I don't know if it's acting or I don't know if it was staged or not, man. It looked like it might have been real. But what I think is more interesting than that.
And Will Smith is like calculated with everything. He's like a multi-hundred, he's businessman.
Yeah. Basically, Chris Rock made fun of his wife's haircut, and she has her hair a special way because she has some sort of a medical condition, and so he took offense to that. Which to me, like, Will Smith comes off as a very intelligent person, so I would think that he understands, like, hey, this is a comedian, that's what he's going to do. It's not a big deal. But then again, it's like, what I think is even more interesting than the situation itself is to then go on to these social media venues or just read regular media as well and see people like talk about how just, stupid or disgusting Will Smith is. And then also say stuff like, he's just doing it to get attention. He's a washed up actor. It's like, remind me what you've done. It's so interesting to me that people are so quick to jump on some sort of a bandwagon to just, belittle others, maybe even for a good reason in some cases. But it's like, what have you done? And what are you getting out of this to like, I guess, feel on top of someone else? Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like, look, I'm not going to criticize Will Smith. He's accomplished much more than I ever will. And he seems like he's got a lot of things going for him. And that's amazing, man. And honestly, I'll never understand the situation. I don't even know if it's fucking staged to begin with. So I'm not going to spend my time,
Who cares, really? When you think about it,
man.
Who needs to care?
But isn't that really the most interesting thing of all time, though, man? Is that in today's age, so many people are wrapped up in shit that literally adds zero value to their life. They will care about that. They will care about
watching.
Go ahead.
I'm watching Naval.
Naval Ravikant. I'm aware of him. He's great. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a phenomenal episode. Oh, man.
Nearly 3 years ago now, and the same stuff is almost
incredible.
Relevant.
Oh, totally, man. Those are
same thing. Talking
those
about
are true
segment on social media, the same bullshit. It's like none of it matters. You could switch off all of this shit, and your life would be better for it.
Yeah. Oh, totally, man. And that was kind of the point that I was going to bring up after that. Is like people get so enamored in a subject like this, and for example, they'll also do it with like sports, right? It's, in my opinion, it's cool to appreciate an athlete who has achieved something really impressive. That is really commendable. But I'm also not going to spend my fucking Sunday sitting around watching him the whole fucking time. But the thing is that people, again, I think it's like a lack of religion. They become religious about their sports team. It's almost as if their sports team accomplishments they take on as their own. It's like we won.
We talk about
it's like
a while ago. We got the World Cup coming up this year as well. It probably was pretty big for you guys being in Europe.
I mean, soccer's it's hockey here is what people really love, but I'm sure it'll be big. Yeah. Oh, hockey's like the thing. In Finland won the world championship, whatever the fuck it is, man. They won, and it was like the most happy I've seen Finns ever.
The difference between people who love team sports and people who love individual sports.
I would. I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this.
Tennis fans.
That is an interesting point. I can't say that I've actually directly observed something. I would just assume that there would be a difference because it's like, I align with that person, I align with that, or align with that team. I haven't actually seen anything specifically, so I can't say like from experience, but I would just think, people who are probably more interested in individualistic accomplishments, maybe even their own, they're probably more motivated by a singular sport like a tennis, right? Where it's like, it's all onto that person. You kind of, maybe aspire to be like them because it's like they can take all the responsibility themselves and still, and accomplish whatever the fuck they're going after. Whereas like it's a team, we're a part of a team. I'm the cheerleader of the team. It's good. It's like, this is my place.
Yeah, exactly. And you get a bit more tribalistic about the team,
right.
whereas with the individual sport, you kind of, I don't, it's not exactly like that, but you kind of take amazement of how one person can achieve so much.
Yeah.
Whereas
the biggest difference,
someone's doing bad, then you go, you're a fucking shit player. You're doing so bad. You're letting everyone else down. And then, you just sort of start going towards the guys who are doing well. And it's just, you start hating within the team and you realize it all just keeps playing out over and over again.
Oh, totally, man. Totally. Yeah. I get where you're going with that, though. But if I had to make one observation, I'd say the biggest difference between singular sports like tennis and, I don't know, like a football or something is
driving. I like it.
They're all white. That's what it looks like to me.
Too much privilege all through it.
Yeah, they got to check their privilege, man. Can't be having any of that. But yeah, man, it's an interesting thing, of course. And then the other sort of current event that I've been paying a lot of attention to, obviously because it's, it's rather close to home, is the Ukraine-Russia situation. And obviously we don't need to talk about like the specifics of what's going on the ground. Obviously, from all the videos.
Heavy in the news there.
Oh yeah, dude. This is like a very big deal. A very big deal.
It's almost like non-existent here.
Oh man, yeah. Well, it's right on our doorstep, and we would theoretically be a potential target. Anyways, so yeah, it's a big deal here. People are quite concerned.
We're concerned with the price of oil going up.
Right.
And the federal budget coming up. $250 for low income earners.
Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, people are dying over there. What about Russian billionaire Roman da-da-da? Yeah, I mean, that's what we're worried about here. It's always the same shit.
Right. Exactly. And we don't have to talk about like the realities of what's going on the ground. I mean, I've seen a bunch of stuff that is quite reprehensible, and I don't want to get into that. But what I do think is rather interesting is to see the response, especially on social media, from usually people in the U.S. or like a comfortable Western country, U.S., UK, these sorts of things, talk on like Twitter, for example. And there's just a subset of people who will, no matter what, they always want to be a contrarian. And I've really lost a lot of respect for, accounts that I thought usually had like some interesting views. Maybe not, I didn't always agree with it, but like I thought that they could support it. And it's like, people will just... Names? Well, yeah, I mean, like Candace Owen, for example. I mean, she's just reprehensible. I mean, she's awful. Terrible judge. Anyways,
do you mean like they've just gone the full right wing of like,
it's not about being right or left. It's just because they are on the right. Right. Oh. But because she's on the right, she immediately takes whatever opposite position that is, on the other side. It's like, look, we can agree on some things. It's okay. It's okay. Like this issue seems pretty cut and dry. I understand that there's, some discrepancies here and there and some, legitimate things to consider, but in general, pretty cut and dry. And it just seems to me like people like her will, no matter what, and people do it on both the left and the right side. Okay. I'm not on either team, just so you know, again, religion, otherwise you join a fucking political party. But she will just immediately adopt the other angle, and then because she's not necessarily right, but she's a great arguer, she's a great conversationalist. She just plays that angle basically. Ben Shapiro does it as well, on the right. On the left, I mean, a shit ton of people do it on the left as well. I want to balance this out by pointing out other people, but I don't really pay attention to too many of them, to be honest with you. So I don't know. But,
all of that stuff.
Yeah, man. It's so I've
been getting done it already, guys. Do it. Just stop following all that stuff. Actually, put a comment down below if you have done it, and if you remember when you did unsubscribe from all.
That's actually really. BS. I would actually be very interested in that because, man, I've been on like a unsubscribe tear recently. And it's just I also don't need to know every event that happens as well, let alone someone's comment on it too. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And these people, like, they become popular not because necessarily they're right. It's because they found like a musical pitch that people seem to like, and so they just they go towards that, and that's how they kind of build up their thing.
It's really cute.
Right. Yeah. It's like they're singing a song and they're like, oh shit, people really like this song. If I keep on singing this song,
producing more songs for the next album,
right? Yeah,
I'm gonna hit #1 soon.
Right. And that's the problem. Like, look, and you can figure, and the way that I do it is it's like, look, if I'm on Twitter or whatever it might be, whatever social media, and I can immediately guess what that person's stance is going to be on the issue before reading it, then they're out. It's like they don't have they're not there.
Like, if you can already guess what the other person's going to say, then what's the point in having a conversation?
Yeah, there's no point at all.
It's kind of almost judging a book by its cover, but I guess you'd start talking, the same answers would come up for the questions. And what's the point? Again, right and left. The rights would always come back with the same fucking lines.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. We've gone down the political thing for long enough, I think.
Yeah.
What else is on the news today?
Oh, actually, I don't know much more than that, to be honest with you. Those were just the two things that I was kind of looking at recently. I'm curious, though, to ask the community here who might be listening, what sort of people would you like to see maybe join this podcast, interviewed kind of style? We were thinking of bringing some people on. Just curious what people would think.
Yeah, mention them down below. Just comment the name. That would be fantastic. I almost got one person on today, but they weren't too sure if it was today or next week. So maybe they'll be jumping on next week.
Perhaps, yes.
Big Twitter, famous Twitter stars.
That's right. Famous Twitter stars.
And they're female.
Oh man, even better. Holy shit. Yeah, that's dude, I can't ever get over the fact that like just an attractive female, or in a lot of cases, just most females, they will get onto a platform like Twitter and they just get popular. And it's not even just that, but it's like reading then the very insightful comments that their, crew leaves. And they'll just be like, you're beautiful. And it's like, you're beautiful, or whatever, whatever compliment, which is great, man. Make other people feel good, of course. But it's just, it just seems to me like a lot of the time it is in some way a bit manipulative, because they think, oh, if I give this person praise, then they will pay attention to me, and then they're gonna go out with me. They'll fall in love. Okay, they'll see who I am.
Female privilege. That's the female privilege. If you had a good ass and a set of tits, maybe you might get a few more comments.
Could be.
That's such a sexist thing to say.
But there's, well, shit, man. Then God shouldn't have made our eyes so good.
From the Twitter side of things, then you got those guys that would say it back to someone else, like, "Oh, how dare you say that?" And then it'll be like, "Oh, you're so beautiful in this post." Like, so stupid. But the person I have in mind, hopefully they can make it next week. Female, crypto, Twitter, very insightful stuff. And I do enjoy reading her posts. Like they're witty. There's real information in them. Whereas, unfortunately, there's a lot of good females on Twitter as well that actually have gone and done research into cryptocurrency, and it's really interesting to read their posts. And they write really well. And then you have just the odd few, which are basically there letting the women down by just sort of screaming and shouting, Cardano.
They're kind of playing their game, There was a girl that I heard speak recently. I'd only ever seen her on Twitter before, and it's kind of hard to gauge for me on Twitter. Of course, guys do it. Z's did it, man. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so I'd only seen it on Twitter before, and for me, it's a little bit more difficult to gauge, like, what's what on Twitter. But I saw her speak on a YouTube video, and she was just phenomenal, man. I think her name was Lynn Alden. Lynn Alden. Yeah, that's her. And man, she was just going on for like an hour or two. And this girl, she knew everything like the back of her hand. She was incredibly intelligent, incredibly insightful. And I had actually not really heard too many people speak on that level amongst many different topics. I mean, just in general, it's a fucking skill, and she was just an absolute genius at it, man. It was really cool to see.
Star in the crypto space.
I guess I just haven't really been paying attention, but
Is it a fund or I think it's an analyst?
I think she's an analyst.
Analyst
company,
yeah,
but so she's good. She's great.
Pretty big in the crypto space.
Yeah. So it is cool to see, but I always wonder, like, what is that obsession with? We need to get more X into this space. People are going to be interested in what they're going to be interested in, is what I've always thought.
And more men into being men.
We're underrepresented in this category. This is bullshit.
More men into women's tennis. We're underrepresented.
Yeah, man. But what is the implication there? It's like if you have equal amounts of numbers, and then that's right. Like, why does it have to?
Again, I think I guess it is. Obviously, we've covered.
Oh, dude, don't get us started on the fucking swimmer debacle in the States. Holy shit. Oh man, yeah, we're gonna avoid that one. Yeah, no, thank you. Do you know what my fucking views are gonna be on that? It's like, Jesus Christ.
I know. I can already read it. What is going on? What's the point of this conversation?
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go, dude. I'm just wondering what else is on your mind, especially with like the market right now and how everything's moving. Do you think that we're out of the woods now?
Not yet. The thing I like to see is after this rally, where does it pull back to? Is it going to be a higher low or a lower low? And if it is a higher low, does that then move up to then form our macro uptrend? That's it.
Yeah.
And this is what I've been waiting. I'm looking at the Solana chart on this side here, and that's all I'm waiting for. We're finally broken out in terms of a weekly trend, getting a higher high and a higher low. And I want to see where this drops to. Like, where does the correction land? If it holds steady, say for Solana, around that sort of $80 to $90, then we've got another higher low, and that's a good sign for Solana to then start to push and try to break this downtrend, because it's pretty much been in a down. Yeah, it hasn't broken the downtrend line yet, and it could do it in the next couple of days or hours. So, look, overall, I'm seeing this as the first rally for pretty much a lot of the altcoins, the first major rally from their low. So it's not out of the woods yet. And I think this year we'll still see a significant low. That low could come in June, July, August, September. Like, basically, I'm looking at late quarter 2, quarter 3, maybe early quarter 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, more so I'm thinking late quarter 2, sometime quarter 3 for another significant low. And then I think we're going to start our move up. So it may have caught a lot of people off guard, including myself in some regards. We'll see where this lands, though, and depends on which cryptos. But what I'm saying in terms of the caught off guard is the drop on altcoins. For example, most people are expecting 90-95%, including myself. For example, Solana has dropped from a high down to that current major low in February of 71%. So, we would consider altcoins to have at least fallen 80 or 90%. And you think, sweet, that's probably done at that point. But we'll wait and see. Maybe they still have a little bit more left to go and then accumulate and move again. They have moved pretty hard. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to kind of highlight one of those points there, because I thought it was rather interesting. But we spoke about, I think maybe like a month ago, kind of when we thought at earliest, if things were to go perfectly from about that point, that was when Bitcoin was around like 30, 36, 35 or so, where we would kind of expect things to really get going again. And you're still thinking kind of maybe at earliest about Q3, Q4 region, late Q3, early Q4.
I think for a significant low, late quarter 2.
Late quarter 2. Yeah, I'm kind of the same opinion. Not necessarily of like a significant low. I don't really know about that, but like if things were to really get going, like let's say from here, I still think probably beginning of Q4 is where things would really start to heat up. Right now, things
heat up. But I'm still like playing out this next 12 months from the peak, that November peak, and just seeing where that
gotcha.
I think it has about 12 months from the peak to some sort of low, and then we'll start to recover from that point.
Gotcha. Yeah.
On our little 3-year cycles.
Yeah, I hear you on that, man. I think to be honest, I do think that the 4-year cycle is dead, and I don't even think it was really ever alive anyways, to be honest with you. I think it was a misnomer.
It depends on what you mean by 4-year cycle, because there's always a 4-year cycle. It just depends whether people expect the 4-year cycle to be peak and bear market drop.
Very good nuanced point there. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For myself, I don't subscribe to that belief. I subscribe to I just subscribe to I don't even really think of things in like terms of cycles anymore, like bull or bear. It's just there is the market and it's going up or it's going down, and it can go on for as long as it fucking goes on, and there's not really anything more to that. I found it best to kind of cycles? There are cycles, but just for myself, like as a trader, I don't care what the cycle is, man. I don't, if I didn't do YouTube videos talking about general analysis on Bitcoin, I wouldn't really have, it would be very, very reasonable not to even, for me to even know what like the macro trend was. If I'm trading the fucking hourly, for example, I don't care what the monthly is doing. I look at it.
You want to know what the daily and potentially weekly is doing, because the weekly is now your macro if you're trading on the hour.
That would be a macro. But even then it's like, I'm not going to really make too many different decisions. Even if the weekly trend is down, I'm still going to take my long signals on an hourly, because when I backtest these sorts of things, I always backtest them in multiple environments. And honestly, the results on a very low term time frame compared to a higher term time frame, they're not much different. They're not much different, actually, statistically speaking, although you would think so, which I naturally think, and certainly some strategies will be, but for the ones that I'm mostly reliant on, no, it doesn't really play too much into it. I mean, they're too short term. It's noise in the greater scheme of things, is what it would be. So just irrelevant. But yeah, it is one of those things though, because
what about your long-term holds? Are you worried about, or do you, not that you have to be worried, but do you focus and understand what's going on in the macro picture to either take some profits?
That is a good point. Yeah, man. So I do have some long-term holds. I basically told myself, hey, I'll hold these for the next, like basically until 2030 or so. Maybe I go in alignment with Mr. Phil Anderson's 18.5-year cycle, because that actually sounds rather interesting.
I got some special news on that.
Oh, really? Oh, amazing. Yeah. I'd love to hear that. So, I kind of will pay attention to that, but it's basically like, hey, I'm going to hold this no matter what. Unless if, let's say like the monthly trend went down, which to be fair, the monthly trend, like it's actually never really, I mean, we have seen reversals on it, but it's happened a few times, like less than 10 times in the past 12 years. It's just, I'm not too fussed with it, man. Not too fussed with it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I like to act as if, and not act as if, but also believe that if I were to lose all of my crypto today, it went to literally zero, it was worthless, or I lost it in a boating accident, whatever, that I'd still be okay. And I want to be in that sort of a position. So I don't even really consider it as like mine to begin with. It's like a little, thing that I'm building up, basically. That's kind of how I like to look at it, and I don't touch it really.
Your long-term crypto holdings are just sitting on the side.
I mean, they're not
there.
Yeah, well, anything that I'm making from trading, ever since like 2018, 2019, I have not touched, like, at all. Just I leave it there. I've had no reason to bring it back into fiat. So that's just the way that I've kind of found works best for me. Yeah. So
before I forget, I was going to mention,
go ahead.
I'll mention about to you guys, Phil Anderson. I was on the phone to him today, and we're looking to do a meetup, or not necessarily meetup, an event here on the Gold Coast. So if you're interested,
really,
sign up to my YouTube channel and Twitter, and I'll post about that when I've got more details.
Oh man, that'll be epic, dude.
Yeah,
you gotta tell me what sort of you gotta tell me after it happens, man, because he had such an interesting view on just the general markets that I could really tell that he did his research and everything too.
Man, he's like 60 something. He's been researching for 40 years.
Holy shit, he's 60? The fuck?
I'm sure he's in his 60s.
Yeah, I mean, he looks old, but I didn't think that old. So
maybe mid to late 50s. I thought 60s.
Yeah,
I should ask.
Right on.
But because he was working with his parents or his family business back in the early 90s when he first started looking into the cycles. That's how it started. So if I look at that early 90s, and he's looking into cycles, he has gone to uni as well and finished his I believe he's an accountant. From memory on his the interview I did. So if I look back at that, it's like 40, 35 years.
Wow.
So if you're in your early 20s, add that to it. I thought maybe late 50s.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's actually rather profound. I mean, if you've been doing anything for 30 or 40 years, especially, you're basically about as top level as you can get at that. I mean, when you think about it, like, because you have to start, probably after like your late teens, early 20s. So you're gonna be 60 by that point. So yeah,
I mean, that's been trading. He just loves to trade. And I asked him on that interview, he said he was going to go dark. Like,
I heard, I heard that. That was badass, man. He seems so real, man. He's good. I really enjoy him. His talks.
That's He doesn't need to please anyone. He's just like, this is information. We were just discussing, like, I'm looking at the titles that we're thinking of for the event, and it had some good stuff. I really want to talk about land taxes, taxing land, not taxing people, not taxing businesses or profits, all this sort of stuff, because I think that's a really interesting concept. And just to explain it a bit more, because I want to learn more about that as well. And then he talked about like getting rid of governments altogether, because the next downturn we have. Yeah, I know, right? Obviously, we know that, but an idea starts from a seed, and see, if it grows and it catches on, and more people are interested in it, then it grows, right? But yeah, he was looking at titles like, crypto. For crypto, to bring that crossover, crypto's only going to work if we don't have government, because we're already starting to see it now with cryptocurrency. The regulations over and over again. Oh, the US needs to regulate.
I see.
Talking about regulation of land. EU is coming out with regulations. Australia, we just had it last week. It was in the news headlines. Crypto regulations are going to be talked about, because we had a blockchain week here in Australia. And then it takes months and months, and the government has to come and say, well, this is exchanges you can trade on. These are ones you're not allowed to. We've also got this week, Coinbase said that, from Canada, Japan, Singapore, you make a transfer off Coinbase. They want to know who you're sending it to, and where it is, and the amount. I'm pretty sure their address.
I think that's inevitable. I mean, if you
but that's because of government,
if
there's no government, who's going to ask you to do that?
Well, of course, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, man. Look, I'm not like a big fan of overbearing governments, obviously, but at the same time, I do think that we need some of it, certainly.
So order. So I thought about that the other day as well. I used to be really into the anarchy, like, but a peaceful anarchy. Which do you remember Jeff Berwick, who was around the crypto scene back 2016, 17?
No, I'm not familiar. No, but I am aware of this ideology. That's like a peaceful anarchist, basically. But I think they put too much.
Acapulco. It was in Mexico. He was doing this event. Anarchy, and then Acapulco, which is a city or town in Mexico, and they have this event every year. I don't know if it's still going, but it was basically for crypto. But I don't know if anarchy is the exact way, but we definitely need some sort of order with people. And there are things that I just don't want to take care of, just like you don't, or you're watching. There are things you don't want to have to fucking think about everything that needs to be done in your society. Yeah,
that's not a net positive for everyone. Yeah, man. No, I'm definitely not of that opinion. But I do kind of understand it. But at the same time, I think what the people who are proponents of that sort of a system don't understand, or maybe what they haven't considered, is that there's just a statistical inevitability that in any population, there's just going to be some fucking really bad people who are just out there to do some really fucked up and terrible things. And look, man, if you have an anarchy and you don't have that sort of organizational order in place, an authority, they're going to have a fucking field day with that. And what are you going to tell to the parent of, like, for example, like some girl who got raped? What are you going to tell her? Like, oh yeah, well, we decided anarchy's better. So, sorry, it's just a cost of doing business, I guess.
I hear.
Good fucking luck. Yeah.
I see us thinking about the problems of the future in this particular scenario.
Okay.
In the same mind that we have now. Whenever you're trying to solve a problem, it's never from what you currently know. It's always
okay. I see where you're going with this. Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know the answer, but this is where it goes off track. It gets subjective and not objective. But my feeling, and maybe it's not going to happen, maybe it's too early for society, humanity, whatever, is that's probably the direction that I would like to head in. I think that's the way to go, is to have less overbearing. And it's like, if we're all catered for, why do we need to act in these ways?
I think you could get like decentralized communities, and that would probably be a step in the right direction. Just like more and more specific to your immediate surroundings, because for example, in the States, what someone's doing in California versus what someone's doing in Florida, like they shouldn't really have the same laws, because they're in different places and they don't have the same needs. So it would make sense to me that you want something that's more specific to you. Obviously, then you have state laws, blah, 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 blah. I get that. But still, it just seems like there could be a bit of a reduction, in the overhead on top of that. So yeah, I can definitely see where you can get with that.
Like, think about those DAOs. There's still governance tokens within the DAO that's being governed. So buy the tokens if you want to have your say in how this is going to be treated.
Yeah. So, I think that's
you have your stake in the organization.
It's an interesting concept, those DAOs. I think one maybe potential issue with them is that, if everyone is putting their 2 cents into a decision, we're all equal in value as a human being. But if we all haven't done the same sort of research into a topic, do we have equal or qualified opinions? Then again, it's like, who's going to say that they, got the right information or whatever? Like, obviously, I understand that's a whole nother issue. I don't have a solution for that. I'm just saying.
Well, I think the vote now. You got everyone allowed to vote.
Yeah. And they shouldn't. Honestly, they shouldn't.
Not everyone has the same education. I don't have the education to vote on.
No, I should not be making decisions for like very complicated foreign policies. I don't know. I've never spent any amount of time researching it. I'm not the fucking person to ask.
Yet the left and the right will say, this is what's right. This is what's right. You vote for us to get this. You vote for us to get that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have any knowledge in that space. I don't think, and I don't think the other millions of people also have the knowledge.
Dude, people are busy living their lives, man. The average person does not have time for that. There's like, think about it, man. If you're the average person, you have probably something resembling a 9 to 5, right? So that's not just a 9 to 5, because you're probably spending some amount of time commuting in the morning, getting ready, and then same thing for when you go home. So it's really okay. Yeah, it's like 10 hours. You probably sleep for 7-8 hours. Okay, well, there's 18 hours of the day already gone. You got 6 hours left or so. Okay, what are you going to do during this time? So you got to eat. So that's another couple hours gone. Okay, non-negotiable. You got to fucking eat. And then maybe you go to the gym if you happen to give a fuck. And then what? That leaves you with a couple hours to basically relax, because you're probably tired as fuck after all of that. So I just don't think that people, like the average person, has... They can't care about those sorts of things. They just don't have the fucking time, man. They just don't have the fucking time. And that's like an average. I mean, some people, they might be working a little bit later than that. They could even be less, less hours.
Just hustle on, working on your own life. You got your own things to continue to grow and build, and you're taking your own time to improve yourself.
Yeah. There's no way around that. Yeah. I mean, I think about some of the things. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think about what's been some of the more important things that I've done, especially in like my earlier 20s. Just reading books and having the times to do that was in some ways kind of cumbersome. Because at that time, I was basically trading and learning how to be a trader. And that took up, about 8 hours of the day. 6 hours was like, or 6.5 hours was actually trading. The other few hours was like studying. But other than that, like reading just other texts that would hopefully add something to me. That was like another hour or two I'd need per day. And the only way that I could really get that is to get creative with it, like listening to an audiobook on the way to, on the commute, right? Or in the gym, for example, as well, because, I still wanted to have that going as well. And it's just, there's not enough hours in the day to really, for most people to kind of break out of that sort of, I guess, the scripted path.
Where are we going with this? What can the fantastic simp that's listening, what can they get out of this? I feel like we're just going into a dark hole of.
We are going into a bit of, of course, you want to offer up some ways to get out of it. I can, the ways that I think that I could maximize a little bit more. Just thinking, there's always going to be a light, obviously, but it depends how much.
Sorry to cut you. I was going towards the feeling. I said, well, we're going down this objective thing. Oh yeah, I did say that actually. And I think in terms of the feeling, just bringing that back up, to get through all the shit, there's going to be some feelings. There's not always a strict objective plan that works out to get you to that end point, because that plan always chops and changes. And like you see with the memes, backwards and forwards, there's no straight line. Unlike, with crypto, there's always a straight line, straight to 100 grand and then straight back down to zero. But, like this is what happens. So you have to go with that feeling sometimes. And sometimes the feeling's right. Sometimes it's wrong. More often that you work on it, then it's more often that you are moving towards your guiding light. And, that gets you to that point, because that's what you're here to do. I found that funny with the crypto charts lately. In particular Solana as well. It's just like, you still think it's going to $50? It's gone up 100 to 109 or something. Still going to 50. It's like, relax, mate.
Sir, did it need to go in like a straight line? Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, markets don't go in a straight line.
Yeah,
One last thing before I forget, the other title to this Phil Anderson event that we're looking to put on at the end of April. Follow my links in the description down below, and I'll keep you updated. How to prepare for governments to steal your crypto.
Oh wow!
And how you can remove government and taxes.
That is salacious, man. That is fiery. Wow.
He mentioned to me at the end of during the conversation to come up with. I came up with the title because he was talking about governments. He's like, no question about it. If it gets bad enough, the governments will steal people's crypto. 100 years ago, when we come to the end of this cycle, which will be end of 2020s. Mid 2020s, end of 2020s, shit gets bad. The government has to figure out where we're going to get this money from. People holding crypto, fine. It's all of ours now. Thank you very much. We'll use that to then go and pay for certain things. Just like they did in the 1930s, after the Great Depression. It was all your gold.
Confiscated the gold. Yeah. Gone.
Yeah. Confiscated the gold. See you later.
I mean, that's like unheard of though. Like people today cannot, you cannot even, I can't conceptualize that. Like I cannot conceptualize that at all. It's like, oh, I have this. What do you mean you have to? Yeah, like, what do you mean you're gonna take it?
It'll be frozen, or at worst, or as another problem would be that they would limit withdrawals. I mean, go Greece. Okay. Withdrawals are limited in Greece. Cyprus, they took your money back 10 years ago. Did you remember reading that?
Yeah, I do remember reading a lot about it, but man, that Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Look, they take money all the time. There's tax.
Yeah, there's tax, there's inflation. Yeah, man, it's
every year.
Dude, I know. I just paid my fucking taxes. I'm like, what do you mean I owe this money to you? I don't even live there. Yeah, it's the worst one if you're American. But I get my American passport. It's really great.
Are you going to go to St. Kitts and get your St. Kitts citizenship?
Dude, I think I'm just going to get European citizenship because I'm only like a few years away from that. It's going to take another 2.5 years, I think. But I get permanent residency in 2 years, assuming that I can just renew my residence permit.
You can still get European citizenship while you've bought St. Kitts citizenship.
I could do that, but it's like, I think about it, it's like, okay, so that's going to be another 150,000. I could make it so that because I just keep my money in my company, that I don't actually make enough money to tax to make that worth it anyways. So it's just like, how much of a headache do I really want to deal with? I don't know. And then also, I'm sure you're obviously aware of Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Andrew Hutchinson, right? From Nomad Capitalist. Yeah, Henderson. Yeah, there he is. Henderson. Anyways,
he's been on the channel before.
Yeah, of course. Anyways, he's been going over that as well. And even he thinks that, some of these kind of like off kilter countries like St. Kitts, like, Grenada, whatever the fuck, these Caribbean countries and several others, those sort of programs, they're going to start to limit their access to other countries. And, because other countries are not really taking kindly to what they're doing. So it's, to me, I kind of look at that as unnecessary risk right now. And it's like, look, I can deal with US taxes for a little bit more time until I get European citizenship. And then maybe I drop it. I don't know. That's a whole nother fucking, like, dude, did you know when you drop US citizenship, you have to pay like, it's something like $10,000, which is fine, but you have to pay $10,000, get like fully audited. It's a long process apparently. And then you cannot be a citizen. It's not just like, hey, I I think I'm done with this now. It's like, no, you have to go through all this bureaucracy, which just seems like, look, man, I got enough things to deal with on a daily basis as well. I don't care enough, honestly, to do that. And I don't know, maybe I also need American citizenship at some point as well. Like who knows? So I've kind of put that idea on the back burner. But my main idea is that I want to have a permanent residency here in Finland, and then also very likely in Portugal is where I'm thinking. That's where I want to be. It's got to be somewhere warm so that we can go, in the winter. It's just, it's too much here, man. It's fucking too much. It's too much, man.
If I see you still living in Finland next winter,
yeah, we'll see, man. I'm going to take
succeeded as a simp. Yeah.
Perfect, man. That's exactly where I want to be. But yeah, we're gonna go visit Portugal once I get my residence permit renewed, assuming they renew it. I want to knock on wood, of course. But after that, then I can start to look into actually buying some property there, and then hopefully no more issues after that. But that's not going to fucking happen. So whatever.
Yeah,
it's another day.
We'll get to Thailand this year. I'll just keep bringing it up at the end of the end of the video. So you guys that are watching, leave your comments down below with your Thailand and your beautiful beach emojis. And we'll see.
Yeah, man, that'd be amazing.
We can make it happen in a few months.
Dude, the place that your girlfriend found was insane. It was really amazing.
Oh, that huge place. That was in Bali.
Yeah, I know it's in Bali, but
Thailand.
Yeah.
The first stop we're looking at is Mexico, so we'll see what we do.
Oh, really?
We go around
wow.
Around the world, Mexico to
where in Mexico would you want to go? I've actually heard a lot of good things about some places in Mexico. In fact,
I think it's not. What's the Baja, whatever it's called?
Talking about like Baja, California.
Yeah, is that whatever that is?
Yeah, somewhere. Okay. Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of it's all touristy and all that sort of shit. It's not really Mexico. But a guy that I met on the surf here, he's Australian and also American, but lives in Mexico near that particular place. And he said, look, half an hour to the east of it, amazing surf. It's Mexican. It's not like the other place, but you're really close to an airport as well. I'm like, that seems like a pretty cool place to go first, and then maybe I'll see some of the other more touristy places.
How long of a flight is that for you from Australia to Mexico?
We're 10 hours or 10 and a half hours from Brisbane. No, that's only to Hawaii. And then I got to go to Hawaii.
Oh, fuck that. Oh my God, dude. No. It's too long, man. I hate being on planes.
I hate it too, but
it's the worst, dude. It's not the worst. It's very awful though. Anyways, that's a good place for us to leave this one off, man, before we drone on a little bit more. Yeah, we can pick this one up next week. Alrighty, sirs and sirs.
Attention. Sorry, you did the my bad, I'm taking over.
Thank you very much, sirs and sirs, for joining in on this Simps number 19, baby. We'll be back next week doing the same thing, same time, same place. See you hopefully soon. Check out Jason in the description below, and take care.
Peace out.